Today, I want to talk to you about the power to stand out. That's right, stand out. You are not meant to be hidden in the background. You are not meant to be like anyone else. You were meant to be unique and to stand out as the most beautiful flower that ever came on the planet. The question I want to ask is, how often do you suppress who you truly are to conform to the expectations of society, family, or friends? When you really think about it, you were trained to suppress who you truly are. When your mom and dad were raising you, you were in theta state from the age of 0 to 8, and you blindly accepted everything that they said. And so you started to conform to getting mom and daddy's approval. You had to, because they were supplying you with food, shelter, support, nourishment. So you would do anything to keep that. And so here you are, and you're no longer 8 years of age. You're like me, maybe, or you're younger than I am, or you're older than I am, and yet you're still trying to conform. Think about society. If you're watching television, think about all the commercials that are trying to get you to conform to something. What are they doing? They're actually doing the same thing that happened to you when you were 0 to 8. What? They're creating an environment on the commercial that's very pleasing, and they repeat it over and over and over again. What are they doing? They're hypnotizing you. They're getting used to that you do what they want instead of you doing what you want. Doing what you are. You see, being authentic isn't about being unique for the sake of being unique. It's finding the inner strength to honor who you truly are, even when the world pushes you toward conformity. One of the things I love about the teachings of Dr. John Demartini is that he talks about that every human being on the planet has a hierarchy of values. When he says values, those things which are most important to you and you truly want more of them in your life. For me, it is to become more aware. It is to teach, and it is to connect with other like-minded individuals. So knowing that those are the things that are most important to me, that's where I focus all of my attention. And in doing so, I become unique, because I am unique. You see, no two people on the planet have the same hierarchy of values. No two people on the planet think the same way. No two people on the planet look alike. You are unique. Isn't it time to accept that? And when you accept that, then you act as if you are that person. You see, the journey to live authentically requires courage, resilience, and a willingness to face discomfort. Why? Because everyone's out there trying to get you to be like they want you to be. In fact, this is the greatest problem we have in our relationships today. In our relationships, we're saying to our partner, unless you're like I want you to be, it's not going to be good for me. So you need to change to become like the person I want. And wait a second, they weren't brought here to be like you. They were brought here to be unique. And that's why after a period of time of people pleasing, the relationship's going to go downhill, because no one is here to please someone else. The purpose of a relationship is to support and grow each other, to share and have fun, not to be a people pleaser. One of the things we've got to understand is that the fear of rejection, judgment, or criticism keeps us from being our true self. We worry that standing out will make us feel isolated or misunderstood. As a result, we settle into roles or behaviors that don't reflect our inner truth, simply because we want to be comfortable, and it's easy to blend in. It is easy to blend in. It's easier not to stand out. But guess what? You never feel good, because you weren't meant to do that. We've been taught to care about what other people think about us. We be taught to become people pleasers, and we fear that someone will reject us. Keep in mind, when someone rejects us, it's simply because we're not meeting their expectations. I want you to know, were you created to meet other people's expectations? One of the things I taught both of my sons, and I'm now teaching my granddaughter when I have the chance, is you're not here to please anyone else. You're here to be your authentic self. And your job is to figure out what that authentic self is and to live it fully. And if people are going to love you, they're going to accept you as you are. They're not going to judge you and try to change you. Being authentic means living in alignment with your highest values. It means showing up as who you really are and not concerned with what others think you should be. That was very prevalent when I was in the corporate world. They had stamina they had their prototype of what we should be like. I can remember going back in my early career working for a company, and I was coming up for a promotion. They said, before you can get the promotion, you need to shave your mustache. If you don't shave your mustache, we're not going to promote you. I didn't shave my mustache. I left the company. I went and found a company that would accept me for having a mustache. But that's going on all over the place. For most of my career, in order for me to get ahead, I wore a suit with a white shirt and a tie. That wasn't who I was. Look at me now. I never wear a tie. I don't even wear button downs anymore. I like the mock turtleneck. I like this collar. I like to feel free. I'm not concerned whether you think I should dress some other way. I dress my authentic style. I don't care what this fancy world of fashion says style is. I dress Lee, and that's enough. You see, when you have the courage to be authentic, you start attracting the right people, opportunities, and experiences into your life that are a match to your vibration. When you're not authentic, you're attracting what? People who are not going to look at you the way you really are. They're going to look at you for the facade that you've created around yourself. And so the relationships are going to be really rather shallow. The opportunities are not going to be opportunities that feed what you really desire. They're going to feed this facade that you've created. And the experience of life are not going to be the ones you want because you're not being your authentic self. If you're not being authentic, you're not going to be having the experience that you want. Let's get clear on one thing, really. Authenticity is not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about embracing both your strengths and your weaknesses. And in doing so, you allow others to see you and to connect with the real you. So many times we try to hide our imperfections. I'm a spontaneous, impromptu speaker. When you see one of my talks, I don't go back and re-edit it. I give you what comes out. So as you talk about this, there may be some new words that I create. My wife says I create new words all the time. I may mispronounce something. You know what? I'm letting you see the real Lee. And I'm cool with the real Lee. The real Lee doesn't need to be perfect. The real Lee needs to be authentic. That's what I've come to, because when I go to bed at night, I sleep real good. Why? Because I'm being me. I am not living a lie. So how do you cultivate the courage to be yourself? Well, first, it's the area of self-awareness. The journey to authenticity starts with understanding who you truly are. We begin to ask ourselves questions. What do I value? What makes me feel alive? And it's only when we know who we are that we can start aligning our lives with those truths. The problem is we've not been taught to ask those meaningful questions. What truly juices you? What do you truly value most? When you start to answer those questions, you're going to get some new answers. Maybe you won't get any answers because you've repressed it for so long. But the true work is self-awareness, discovering who you truly are and what it is that juices you. The second thing we need to do is letting go of the need of approval from others. When you stop seeking or living for others' approval, you give yourself permission to live your truth. One of the things that is one of the 4 agreements, stop worrying about what other people think about you. When you do that, man, you set yourself free. You're not bound by judging yourself. Am I meaning this? Am I meaning this? Am I meaning this? No. You're living your full self. You're taking yourself out of judgment, and you're taking yourself into love. The third thing we need to do is to embrace vulnerability. It means showing parts of ourselves that might feel raw or uncomfortable, but in doing so, we become stronger and stop living from a place of fear. By being authentic, by being vulnerable, I become more comfortable that I do have things that I'm not that great at. I do have flaws by society's standards. But here's the key thing, I accept them. I accept everyone has flaws. Understand that. There's no person on the planet that's perfect. For example, I can look at my wife and I'll see all these qualities that I love, and I'll see all these qualities that I don't particularly care for. But the experience I have, because she showed me all of them, I'm grateful. And what I do is I focus on the qualities that I love. Where you place your focus determines your experience. That's the key to life. 2 people can be looking at the same thing, but how they're focusing on it will determine their experience. The reward for being authentic is that it creates real and deep connections. The people who are drawn to you are genuine because authenticity is magnetic. It also inspires others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that encourages more people to live from their truth. I love the fact that because I'm authentic, the people I hang with are authentic. A lot of people have come and gone from my life because as I become more authentic and they don't, they just simply fall away. It's not good or bad, it's just where they are in life. And people have left me because maybe I haven't been as authentic. I'm sure that that's been the case in many things. But what I do know is that who I am is a magnet, and that magnet attracts people to me. I would highly suggest this to you. Embrace who you are, proudly and yet humbly stand tall in your uniqueness, all the while having the courage to live boldly, unapologetically, and authentically. When you can embrace who you are, be proud and humble, stand tall in your uniqueness, having the courage to live boldly, unapologetically to your highest values, you are being authentic. And you are going to have the most magnificent life, one that will be fulfilling in ways that you cannot yet imagine. It comes back to one thing, and one thing only. Remember, everything begins and ends with you. There is no one on the planet like you. There never was, there never will be. It's time to step into you. Figure out who that you is and live you to the fullness of all that you can. And when you do that, you will have found the secret to living life.